Hey everybody, welcome back to The Stuff of Legend. My name is D-Lo, and I have a spoiler-free review for you guys about the movie Captain Marvel. So this one I'm going to be bringing to you, again, just to reiterate, you won't have to worry if you haven't seen the film. I'm just going to be giving you some vague emotions, feelings about the film, having come out of seeing it last night. Overall, I'll give you guys the gist of it as soon as we get into this thing, but no spoilers. I won't give you any plot details. I'm going to keep it really simple, really vague. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into this. So Captain Marvel, I'm really glad to say that I really did like it. And I liked it a lot more than I think probably most people will tell you that they did. A lot of the critical reviews out there right now by actual critics, I'm not a critic, I'm just a fan, but as far as critics reviewing this film, they seem to place it somewhere between like a 5 out of 10 and like a 7 or 8 out of 10. So not the best MCU film out there. It's not the best superhero film, but it's really fun and it's a good film. You can go check out, you can see it, and you'll probably walk out being like, yeah, that was pretty good. I like that. And placing somewhere between like say Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Captain America, the First Avenger, a good Marvel film, not one of the best. We've come to expect greatness, and I will say I don't think this one stacks all the way up, but let me give you guys some of my quick thoughts, okay? So I'm going to break this into two categories. The first of these being the good, and the second being the bad. So right now, we're going to talk about the good things about Captain Marvel, okay? So first off, I want to start by saying the story was really enjoyable. I really liked the story that they went with. I liked the direction. Some critics out there were saying they didn't really like the pace or the flow. It felt clunky at times. I didn't personally feel that. I actually really enjoyed the way that they paced it out. There's other things I will say that probably tie in with what they're saying. And they're more professional, like they're critics. I'm not a critic. I don't even like to really be critical. I like to just enjoy these things. But I'm going to be a little bit critical with you guys here in this video. So I have that ability. I don't like it, but whatever. So the story's good. I liked the script. There wasn't any time during the film where I was like, that line, like it wasn't like weak writing as far as the story, and it wasn't weak writing as far as the script and the dialogue. I really enjoyed it all the way through. It was very good. There was a couple of parts that I think felt kind of like thrown into there, forced in there to kind of help make Brie Larson's Carol Danvers feel a little bit lifted up. I won't tell you what those are because this is non-spoiler and I want to make sure that as much as possible I stay off the details. But I would say 98% of the script, literally probably only 1 or 2 lines in the film, not from any of the main cast, felt like that felt a little bit forced. But other than that, story and script are really great. Now, I will say I really enjoyed the cast of this film. Everyone that was in this film did a fantastic job. I will say I think that some of the better actors in this film were the supporting cast, and I would say that Samuel L. Jackson really stole the show. I think Ben Mendelsohn stole the show. Jude Law did a great job in his role as well. A lot of the Kree Star Force and then the Skrulls as well. A lot of it was really good, really enjoyable, and a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. The trailers made it really feel like a hybrid of just like there was some of this like 90s nostalgia, and then a lot more like the serious roles. We have to all take Captain Marvel really seriously, and when I got into the film, I was surprised by how there was a nice balance between the serious and the fun, and yeah, I really liked that. So there was a really good cast overall. The whole cast did a good job, and many of the supporting cast were highly exceptional, very good. Especially I will say Ben Mendelsohn. I really like Ben Mendelsohn. So next after that, we have visual effects. I'll say that the visual effects for this film were absolutely amazing, including and especially the de-aging process they did for Samuel L. Jackson and then also with Clark Gregg. So they had a few characters come back that are supposed to play the younger versions of themselves, and it was flawless. Like, you didn't even notice that they were trying to be younger or that the effects or the makeup were trying to make them look younger. It was just fantastic. I really loved it. So the effects were great, especially like the blasts and the starships and space, the city that they show. I won't get into too much of that. They were on a different planet for a minute, and it was really cool. I really liked all of that. Then after that, after the visual effects, which was really good, there was also a couple of whoa moments, like, whoa, I didn't see that coming, or oh my gosh, that's a big surprise, or a plot twist, or this. And, you know, there was a few moments there that were just awesome. And I was really happy that they were able to get those in there in a good way. Sometimes they struggle to get these plot twists, or you really see those things coming. There was a few of those where you just didn't see them coming. And I like that. I really like that they were able to surprise us. After 20 films, we were still able to be surprised by things, which is really, really good. I see in the comments we have, I love the movie so much by Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Yes, it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. Let me balance my camera really quick. There we go. Get that focus back on. And then we have Hunter Iggy saying, who is your cast for Hakeman and Stargirl and Atom Smasher for Black Adam movie? I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole nother topic. We'll have to do that another time. For this one, I'm trying to keep it brief. After this, I'll say that the Kree and the Skrulls were most entirely done very comic book accurate. There was a few things that they changed a little bit, and I'll talk about those in a full spoiler review because those are not open for discussion in this type of non-spoiler environment. But I will say 95% of what they did with the Kree and the Skrulls and their stories was very accurate, and I really liked what they did there, especially, namely, with the Skrulls. I really, really liked that. Now, the number 8 of the good things is they tie up a lot of loose ends throughout the MCU. They connect a lot of dots, and they answer some unanswered questions that have been there since day one, since the first Marvel movies, and they really started helping to integrate Captain Marvel back into what would have been phase 1 in the MCU. So like going all the way back to then, or even before phase 1, they really made this movie feel like it was part of that universe by connecting those dots and putting in things that allow you to remember what you saw in the first few Marvel films. So that was good. It was more than just Easter eggs. There was plot points and things, plot devices that were there to help link it back and make it really feel like a phase 1 MCU film, which is good because it's her origin. It's going to be important if she's going to be someone that's almost equally important as the original roster for the Avengers in Endgame. So like if that's a thing, if they bring her in there, which I'm pretty sure we all are expecting that's going to happen, especially with how hard they've been pushing Captain Marvel, I think that that's going to be, it's important that they do stuff like that. So next after that, I'll say that it sets up a lot of opportunity for cosmic end stories in space. And that's something that I thought was excellent because every Marvel film brings something to the table. And I think that Captain Marvel really had a cosmic feel, even though a lot of the film was done on Earth. There was probably only a third or so of the film, maybe a little bit more than a third, but close, not quite half of the film in outer space. And so, but it was able to feel very cosmic in the scale of the story. I like that. So that is pretty much it for my the good. Now let's go ahead and transition into the bad. And so without giving away plot details and spoilers, I will say that as far as the bad, there was a few moments. I know I praised the visual effects, but there was a few moments where in like fight scenes, they did a lot of like really hard shaky cam, and it was like really in your face, and like you were trying to watch two people fight, but the camera was so like close that you couldn't see what these guys were doing on the sides, and like the energy and blasts and stuff were like super like this, and you could only see someone over here on the side. It was very some of those scenes, not all the fight scenes, because I really liked a lot of the fight scenes, but there was like two in particular where it really felt like they leaned incredibly hard onto shaky cam, and then I don't know, overwhelming like dark lighting, and it was just like the lighting, the shaky cam, the close work with the camera really took away from some of the fight scenes. I think probably about 2 of the fight scenes were like that, and they could have been super epic, and it felt very unseen. Even after you're watching the whole thing, you're trying to enjoy it, you felt like you didn't get to see the fight scene because the way that it was done. And so there was a couple of those scenes that were taken away from me, I think. So that was bad. And then the lack of sympathy for the main character. So like I said, the entire cast was good. And then most of the supporting cast was exceptional, very good. To the degree that I think that it outshined Brie Larson. And that's not good. You don't want your main character to feel like they aren't as good or as compelling as some of the supporting cast. And I think that Brie Larson did a good job, but not good enough that by the time it was over, me and some of our friends were like thinking, man, if only, like they had gotten Catherine Winnick for the role, or oh my gosh, what if they had gotten this other person for the role? And that's not what you want. When people got out of Iron Man, it was like, oh my gosh, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. Oh my gosh, Chris Evans is Captain America. Wow, what a transformation with Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt is Star-Lord. And you didn't walk out of the theater thinking, I wish we had someone else, or there could have been someone else. And that's, I don't want someone else necessarily for Brie Larson, but if in your head you're still rationalizing, there could have been someone else in that role that could have done it just as good. And believe me, I like to fan cast, but not to the to the degree that this had me thinking by the end. That pretty much like 4, 5, 6 other actresses came to mind, and I was like, maybe they would have been a better option. And that's sad because I do like Brie Larson. I think that she did good. She just wasn't good enough that in my head it's like, Brie Larson is Captain Marvel 100%. That Brie Larson played Carol Danvers spot on. It wasn't like that for me. And so that I think was a detriment. Another thing was the lack of sympathy for the main character in the story. I'm not going to get too detailed, right? But the character felt like she was strong like all the way through, and they kind of do like this flash series of like showing you the struggles she's been through, and it kind of felt like that part of it was a little bit rushed. I know they say show don't tell, right? They don't want the idea is that you show your audience what you're trying to say, you don't tell them what you're trying to say. This felt like the opposite of what like that example stands for. Is they tried to flash and show you her struggles in kind of a montage, and it felt very rushed because throughout the rest of the movie she kind of wasn't at like any kind of in any situation where she wasn't able to handle herself. You know what I mean? Like it's like the whole rest of the film, she's kind of up here, and it's like situationally she just has to keep overcoming this and this and this and this, and she does almost without any problems. And not to say that she wasn't without problems, it's just that it felt like they kind of skipped past the parts where she had to develop into someone that needed to overcome something. Like she just kind of had it, you know what I mean? And so it was a little bit, that for me was one of the reasons why, not that the movie wasn't good, because it was really good, but I wasn't able to connect with the main character. And that to me was, I think, maybe one of the reasons why Brie Larson didn't stand out as an actress, because she wasn't given the opportunity to stand out as someone that was vulnerable, was very vulnerable. That's something that everyone else has had. Star-Lord with like losing his mom, and then like his struggles to try to find a family and fit in and make the right choice and that kind of stuff. It seems like Carol Danvers didn't really have a plot that was sympathetic or empathetic. She just lost her memory, and she's just trying to figure out who she really is, or what side of the war she has to be on to win. You know what I mean? It's like she's gonna win no matter what. It's just what side does she pick, that kind of thing. So that was a little bit unsympathetic. Next, without giving up too much detail, there was a pivotal change, like a very critical character change to a long-awaited character I won't disclose, but a lot of people have been clamoring to find out directly who is going to play this specific character within the movie of Captain Marvel, because it's highly expected that character would make an Easter egg reference, something, or possibly show up in Endgame or after Endgame. And it feels like they took that character and tweaked it so hard that it's never going to come into the MCU in the way that we know that character ever. And that was a huge bummer for me. Like, for me as a cosmic Marvel fan, to me that was a huge, like, we're never going to get that. You can just forget about that. We're past that, and we're not going back to that. So I won't say who that was, what that character was, because it was a little bit subtle. Like, you wouldn't notice normally, but they mentioned the name several times, and it totally is not in any way, shape, or form the character that we know from the comics. So that was a bummer. Like, they put that character in a different character and then just wrote it off. It's kind of like in Homecoming when, you know, like the best friend of Peter Parker is called Ned Leeds. Well, that's one of the names of the Hobgoblins, but they're never going to do that with the character that is Ned Leeds in Homecoming. So we're not going to see the Hobgoblin in Homecoming. So it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? So, like, they wrote that character out of Marvel existence for the movie's sake. So I don't know. That was a bummer. Most people won't catch it, though. Most people won't know that because the character is a deep cut anyway. I think that's just me being upset. But and then another thing was there was one or two unclear relationship statuses, and I won't give it in any spoilers or anything, but it's involving Brie Larson's character, and it felt like there was a lot more there that was not explained or expounded upon, and it could have been possibly, or just simply explained away, but they left it as this kind of like mysterious, like, is it there, is it not? And I think that if they had done something with that, it could have given a lot more depth to the character of Carol Danvers. It could have been a lot more relatable, emotionally connected. And that was, I think, probably a missed opportunity. And it was something that just left my head as like a question when I walked out of the theater. Like, what was up with that? And everyone that I talked to was having the same idea, same feeling. So it was just an unanswered question. Next, and I think this is pretty much the last thing was that, and I think I mentioned this already, but Brie Larson was just, I think she just got outacted by the supporting cast, and that's a bummer because they were all exceptional, they were all great, and I think it's hard to compare yourself to someone like Samuel L. Jackson or Ben Mendelsohn, who are tremendously talented actors. But even the supporting cast, the actress, I don't know her name, but she plays Maria Rambeau, and she's pivotal. She's a important character for Captain Marvel, for Carol Danvers in her backstory. She outacted Brie Larson, and there was a few moments where I connected very, very powerfully to that character, Maria Rambeau, as she was speaking and she was getting her opportunity to be on screen and have a pivotal story plot point in a few different scenes. I connected with her, and then in that moment, you're supposed to connect with her and Carol Danvers, and I didn't feel any connection to Carol Danvers in that moment. And I think it was just because Brie Larson got outacted by her supporting cast, and that was kind of sad. That was sad for me because I really want to like Brie Larson in this role, and I do, but just not enough that I'm still like, okay, who should be the next, who should take over as Captain Marvel, or who should they recast? I don't want them to recast. Nobody likes a recast. But at the end of the day, it's like, I think there's still 4, 5, or 6 other actresses that could have done the job as good or better. And that's sad. I don't want that. So it's sad to say, but I will say this, going back to the good, I would give this film probably a 7 out of 10. Because it is a lot of fun. It's a good film. It's a good Marvel film. It's just not a great Marvel film. I think the number one problem with it would probably be like cinematic quality in some of the fight scenes, because it was that distracting. And then everything else was great. Costumes were great. The vast majority of the visual effects were great. The story, the script. I liked the plot twists. I love what they did with the cosmic end. I like how they tied things in with, like the MCU, the Easter eggs that were dropped. I enjoyed all of that. I love the supporting cast. I even liked Brie Larson. I just didn't love Brie Larson, and that was something I really wanted to happen. So that's it. That's all I had to say. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure to click the subscribe button so you can be alerted right away. And oh, I'm sorry, subscribe so that you guys can get all of my notifications in here. Turn on the notification bell so you can be alerted right away when I go live next time. That way you guys won't miss a thing. So I'm getting my head all jumbled right now. But anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys appreciate it. Smash the like button to help me stop stuttering and stammering over my words. And anyway, I would recommend go see this film. It's a good film, and stay for both the after credits. There's 2 after credit scenes, one in the middle and one at the very, very end before lights out. The middle one is the most important, and the end one is kind of a fun, more funny one that's not as critical, but it's there and it's fun. And so I would recommend stay for both. It's good. So those are really cool, really important. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. Again, keep no spoiler comments in the chain here. Let me go ahead and read this off. The good is the end cutscene. Yeah, the end cutscene is very good. And bad everything else. I don't think the movie was bad. I think the movie was good. I think the movie was overwhelmingly good. 7 out of 10 is what I give this film, and I think that it's good. I think that it ranks probably somewhere in the middle of the Marvel films. I don't think it's as bad as, say, Thor: The Dark World. I don't think it's anywhere close to that, but I think it's somewhere near like Doctor Strange, Ant-Man level. It's pretty good. It's good. It's fun, and you can definitely go see it. Go check it out because there's a lot that you're going to want to see, and I will say the villains made this film for me. I really, really love the villains. So go check it out. You guys stay tuned for more right here on The Stuff of Legend.